The JoLynn Braley Show, episode 56. Get Real, episode number 13. The real truth about why you can't lose weight. Hello and welcome. This is JoLynn Braley, weight loss mindset expert, founder of the Inner Self Diet, and this is the JoLynn Braley Show. Join me on today's show as I go beyond the food to the real issue. What is the real issue? That is your mindset. And especially on today's show, this is Get Real, episode number 13. Since the JoLynn Braley Show began last January in 2013, I said that I would do at least one Get Real episode each month, and that's what I've continued to do. Today is Get Real episode 13, and we are going to talk about the real truth about why you can't lose weight. And we're going to include a little bit of the 10%. What is the 10%? Well, you already know what the 90% is. The 90% of your challenge in achieving struggle-free success with your weight that lasts. We're talking about permanent weight loss. 90% of that challenge is your mindset. The 10% is how you eat and exercise. Most people have it completely backwards. Maybe you did what millions of people did on January 1st. You made a New Year's resolution to lose weight. Well, 99% of people have already given up on those New Year's resolutions. We're already into today is the 23rd of January. 3 weeks in. 3 weeks into January. Those New Year's resolutions were gone over a week ago. And that's not anything to beat yourself up about. You cannot force yourself with 10% of the solution to become something that 90% of you is not. So, when you have an FAT mindset on the inside, then that matches overeating and excess weight on the outside. The solution is to shift the 90% of your inner self, that is your inner self. Get a weight loss mindset. It goes far beyond positive thinking. And then once you have a core solid weight loss mindset, which comes from core transformation on the inside, then it will be very easy for you to do the 10% on the outside. Again, the 10% is the healthy lifestyle that you already know you need to live if you want to drop the fat and keep it off. I mean, nobody really thinks that you can overeat on boxes of cookies and stuff yourself with loads of food and then take a little pill and lose weight overnight. Yes, you're very smart. You have great common sense, and of course you know that in order to get and keep the body of your dreams, you'll need to live a healthy lifestyle day in and day out. That means the end of your emotional eating, binge eating, late night stuffing, last supper eating on Sunday nights, self-criticism, self-sabotage, all of the things that you do to yourself right now, even though you don't want to. Of course, you don't want to be an emotional eater, but you can't stop doing it. And the reason is because you have not solved the 90% of the problem, which is on the inside. Thankfully, it doesn't have to take a lifetime to heal that, and you can actually be free of all of that struggle. I've helped too many coaching clients of mine in my coaching practice break free of those never-ending struggles. There's no reason that you couldn't do it too. And of course, the quickest and easiest way to release those struggles that you're living with is simply to do the same steps that others have already done before you. And if you're serious about doing that, you can find out more at fearless, fatloss.com. So let's go ahead and look at today's episode, which is Get Real episode number 13, the real truth about why you can't lose weight. Now first, I'd like to just explain to you what a Get Real episode is, what the purpose is, just in case this is the first time that you have listened to the JoLynn Braley Show. A Get Real episode is for the purpose of helping you to get real with you. Why would you want to do that? Well, it's nearly impossible. In fact, I think it is totally impossible to get to where you want to go if you don't know where you're starting from. For example, if you're telling yourself that you don't really have that big of a problem, but the reality is that you're overweight and you can't stop eating, well, as long as you continue to tell yourself that there's no problem here, that won't help you get to the place of permanent weight loss. If what you want is permanent weight loss, and really, who wouldn't want that? Who would not want to be free of that struggle? I mean, geez, it's not very much fun, is it? And I can say that because I've been there before. I know exactly what it is like. So, on these Get Real episodes, I invite you to really get real with yourself and really look at what you are doing to yourself. Yes, no one else is doing it to you. There is no little green man who is behind the curtain who is thinking your thoughts or feeling your feelings or eating the food that you are eating or avoiding the exercise that you're avoiding. This is all about you. And yes, believe it or not, you are the one who is in control of how you feel and what you think. And until you fully step into the driver's seat of your life and accept 100% badass personal responsibility for everything you have created in your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, until you do that, and you take control of your own mind. You can't control anyone else's mind. If you ever see the term mind control, what I invite you to do is to look at what that person is actually talking about. Because if they're talking about what I talk about, they're talking about you taking full control of your own mind. You can't control someone else's mind. And why would you want to do that? So, the purpose, the beauty in getting real with yourself and really honestly accepting that you have created all of your problems and you have also created all of your successes. When you accept that, then that gives you the power to, even though you've created overweight and overeating, that gives you the power to then create something else. If you don't accept full personal responsibility for your problems and your challenges with overeating and overweight and any other challenges you have in your life, if you're blaming other people or blaming the fast food industry or blaming anyone or anything else, you have no power to change. Now, when you do accept full, badass, 100% personal responsibility for yourself and all of your results in your life, and you stop blaming anything or anyone else out there, it doesn't mean that you necessarily know how to achieve permanent weight loss. But when you take that full responsibility for yourself and get real with yourself, then you will be open to the solution that a professional can help you with. You're not supposed to know how to do everything yourself. Just like if your car broke down, would you think that you should know how to fix it? Even car mechanics, most of them take their vehicles to another mechanic to fix because they don't want to spend the time fixing it. So, you're not supposed to know how to heal the inner root of all of your lifelong food and weight struggles. But if you don't accept full responsibility for being the one who created the muckmire that you're in, I call it a muckmire, then you have no power to change. So that's your first get real bit of today's Get Real episode. And now let's look at the real truth about why you can't lose weight. Number one reason why you can't lose weight, you have not accepted full, badass, 100% personal responsibility for yourself. You're still blaming other people. You're blaming your parents. You're blaming your husband. You're blaming your kids. If you're a man, you're blaming your wife. Whoever or whatever, you're blaming the processed food manufacturers. Do we have a very unhealthy food environment today? Is it much more unhealthy than it was 50 years ago? Yes. But you don't have to eat that food. There are other choices you could make. So if you blame the processed food and the fast food manufacturers, you're still giving your power away. So that's number one, the real truth about why you can't lose weight. You have not accepted full personal responsibility for yourself. And it's a really big problem, especially in the United States. If you're from Europe, it's not as much of a problem over there. In general, Europeans tend to be more mature than Americans. And I'm an American. And if you're an American, I'm not saying this in a negative way or to put any of us down. It's just how it is. I've traveled the world, and I'm speaking from my own personal experience. And it is a problem in the United States. This is why so many people sue other people in the United States. Half of the lawsuits, if not more, could be dropped if people were just taking personal responsibility for what they create in their own lives. Now, do most people live like this? No. But you're listening to me right now, so that means that there's a part of you, even if it's really small, that wants to take more control of yourself, your own mind, and your own body in your life. Otherwise, you would not be listening to my voice right now. So you're in the minority, and that's something to congratulate yourself for. You don't need to go out and try to change other people, though. Just, focus on yourself. That's the only thing that you can change. Number two, the real reason why you can't lose weight. You're really not even trying to lose weight. If you really get real with yourself and you really honestly look at how you're eating and what you're eating, you would see that there's a reason why you're overweight. Now again, this is not something to criticize yourself for. If you already had a weight loss mindset, if you already had the 90% of your inner self in alignment with the fit, healthy body that you would love to have, then you wouldn't need to hear any of this, and you'd just be living a healthy and fit lifestyle without any problem. This episode here is to help you get real with yourself and really look at, okay, hey, what am I really doing here? If you're not losing weight, but you're eating 2 pounds of sugar, the equivalent of 2 pounds of sugar every day, because everything you put in your mouth has processed sugar in it, which almost all processed food has some kind of artificial sugar in it. Most of it is corn sugar. If you're not reading the labels, the ingredient label, not the nutrition facts, but the ingredient label of the food that you're putting in your mouth, if you're not taking full responsibility for how you're feeding your body, and if you're an emotional eater, and you're eating when you're not even physically hungry, these are all reasons why this is the real truth about why you can't lose weight and why you're not. And please, I will emphasize this again. This is not something for you to criticize yourself about. You're not stupid. You're not wrong. You're not bad. I'm sure that you are a very smart person. I bet that you're very, very successful in your business or your career life. But this is an example of seeing that this is a problem that is not about your level of intelligence. Because if it was about your smarts and your intelligence that has gotten you to where you are in your career, your business, maybe even in your relationships, then you wouldn't have the problem with your weight, would you? So it's a much deeper root than that. It ties into much deeper challenges, issues, whatever word you'd like to give it. You have to have the beliefs on the inside that match the body that you want on the outside. You have to have the right foundation. Again, it goes far beyond positive thinking. So that's number 2, the real truth about why you can't lose weight. Number 3, the real truth about why you can't lose weight. You're not willing to, or at least up until this point, you have not been willing to get the help of a professional. Hire a professional mentor and coach who can help you get to where you want to go. Because these challenges, the root of your ongoing food and weight struggles, because it is so deep and it's tied in with so many other things within you, and if you're like all of my coaching clients, and I would guess anyone else on the planet who has an ongoing problem with food and your weight, you have never been completely free of your emotional eating, your binge eating, your yo-yo dieting, stuffing yourself, any of those things, you have never been completely free of them, and that tells you that means that you've never healed the root of them. All of this started when you were a kid, and you can look at that for yourself right now if you'd like to. I invite you to, so that you can get even more real with yourself to see how old this problem really is. And the way you do that is just take a pen and paper, and of course you can pause this podcast if you need to, but write on your paper your current age, and then as you travel back in time, go back to your earliest memories of when you were a small child, and then come back up to the first time in your memory bank when you were a kid that you can remember the first time you had negative thoughts about your body or about your weight or about food. Maybe somebody told you that you were fat. Maybe somebody criticized you. Maybe someone told you you needed to go on a diet. And it's very, very possible that you were not even overweight back then. All of my struggles started when I was 7 years old. I was a skinny child, but I looked down at my thighs when I was sitting on the front seat of my parents' car one summer, when I was 7, and I had these little red shorts on. I looked down at my thighs, and when you're a human being and you sit down, your thighs naturally spread out. And I looked down at my thighs, and I thought to myself that I thought I'm fat. I wasn't fat, but I had picked up on these negative thoughts from adults around me who were having their own problems with their body and calorie counting and dieting and weight and all these things. And that, though, is where all of my challenges started. So you might be like me, or you were overweight back then. Either way, it's very easy for you to find the age when all of this started, and then on your paper, write down that number underneath your current age, subtract the 2, and circle that number you get. And that will give you the total number of years of how old this struggle is that you're living with. This gives you another insight into why it's been so hard for you to stop doing the unhealthy behaviors that you do to yourself. The problem, it just continues to compound in interest each day, each month, each year, because it's older and it just gets bigger. And that's how these things work, actually, in this universe. If you don't do something different, and I don't mean different as in another food diet, I mean different on the inside. You've got to change your mindset. If you don't do something different, then that same problem will just keep going, because you focus on it every single day. You're always looking in the mirror, you're always noticing that your pants are too tight, and you're always thinking about, oh, well, I should eat that, but I really want to eat this. Why don't I just go ahead and eat this right now, because tomorrow I'll start again. And it just keeps going every day. So the good news is it doesn't have to be like that. You really can live a healthy lifestyle. You can feed your body the foods that you know are good for your body and will help you drop that fat and keep it off, and you really can have an easy time of it. And it doesn't mean that you'll never ever again eat a cookie. what it means is that once you learn how to take full control of your own mind and your own emotions, which is massively important if you want permanent weight loss, it means that once you do that, once you learn how to do that and you take specific steps to do it, then it'll be easy for you to live healthy and fit. So those are 3 reasons why you can't lose weight and the real truth about it. Let me give you a bonus reason here, and I touched on it earlier already. And oftentimes it's not always necessarily about how much you're eating, but it's what you're eating. And if you're not paying any attention and you're always eating only for taste, well, like I said earlier on the show, there is so much corn sugar in processed food today that it can really mess with your body. And on next week's episode, I'm going to do something that I have not done for the entire time that the JoLynn Braley Show has been broadcasting. Next week's episode will be episode number 57, and I'm actually going to address the 10% of the challenge. We're going to talk about the food, so we'll get more into that next week. It's the first time I have addressed the 10% in 56 episodes of the JoLynn Braley Show, because the JoLynn Braley Show is about the real issue, which is your mindset. Because if you already had the mindset that you need, if you'd already healed the 90% of the solution, the 90% is on the inside, your inner self, then you wouldn't even need to listen to me. You would just be out bipping along, living your life, living healthy and fit, loving exercise, loving eating healthy, and you wouldn't be having any challenges with your weight. You'd have other challenges in your life. You're always going to have challenges in your life. And if you've ever thought that if only you could lose weight, that everything would be perfect, that is not true. So that's something else that you could get real with yourself about today. If that's what you're thinking, that suddenly all your problems will be gone as soon as you get to a certain number on the scale, that's not going to happen. There's always going to be something else. So, it's time for a commercial break, and today's sponsor of the JoLynn Braley Show is 31 Days of Loving Yourself Thin.com. If you would love to take an immediate action step towards making weight loss easier for yourself, then go to 31, that's the number 3, the number 1, Days of Loving Yourself Thin.com, and you could take that first step immediately. Okay, shout-outs. How do you get a shout-out from me on the JoLynn Braley Show? All you need to do is go to the JoLynnBraleyShow.com and click like to like our Facebook page. I'll give you a shout-out on an upcoming episode. And how do you get to the JoLynnBraleyShow.com, get to our Facebook page? Just type in the JoLynnBraleyShow.com, and that will take you to our Facebook page. I'll only use your first name. It's just a way to say thanks for listening, and it's just a fun thing to do. So let's look at what you learned today. Oh, wait, I need to give you questions. I've been giving you already throughout the show, I've given you several get real points, and let me just give you some formal questions like I do on every show. I highly recommend you write these down pen on paper so you get the connection that occurs between your head, your hand, and your heart. Number 1 question. Have I taken 100% badass personal responsibility for everything I have created in my life? The good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's just a simple yes or no answer. Have I taken 100% personal responsibility for everything I have created in my life? The good, the bad, and the ugly. Yes or no? And that means that you're not blaming anyone else. You're also not beating yourself up. That's not what taking personal responsibility is about. It's just about stepping into your own power, letting everyone else off the hook, also letting yourself off the hook, and knowing, not just noticing, but knowing that all of your power lies in the present moment. Number 2 question. If I answered no to the first question, then when exactly will it be the right time for me to take 100% personal responsibility for myself? If I answered no to question number 1, when exactly will it be the right time for me to take 100% personal responsibility for myself, for everything I've created in my life? That also means no more blaming the government, no more blaming your dog, no more blaming your neighbors. It's all about you. Everything in your life is a creation of you, and it all starts with a thought. That could be an entirely other podcast episode, but I cover everything that is needed to get a weight loss mindset in the Inner Self Diet. And if you are serious about leaving all of your ongoing food and weight struggles behind you, then your first step is to apply for a complimentary weight loss discovery session at discovery-session.com. Number 3 question. What exactly am I doing right now to heal the root of my ongoing food and weight struggles? What exactly am I doing right now to heal the root of my ongoing food and weight struggles? And then make a list, or if you're not doing anything, then get real with yourself about it. Get real with yourself that you're not doing anything to address the 90%, that the only thing that you are doing and have been doing all along is only trying to force yourself to eat better, and it's never worked. If it had, then you wouldn't be listening to me right now. And the last question, when exactly is it going to be the right time for me to get the help I need so that I could put all this struggle in the dust? When exactly is it going to be the right time for me to get the professional help I need so I can put all of this struggle in the dust? If you already knew how to get out of the place you're in, you would have already done it, right? So if you're telling yourself, oh, well, I'll wait one day until I can have the money, then what you might want to look at is something that Dr. Wayne Dyer says. He says, never, ever, ever allow money to be the reason that you do not fulfill your dharma. Your dharma is your purpose. How can you really live your purpose in your life? How can you really live your life full out if you don't even like the body you're living in? If you don't even feel good about yourself? If you're not happy when you look in the mirror? How can you really go all out for yourself? And one last thought about that. It's a fact that you can always make more money, but you can never make up lost time and lost transformation that you could have had if you had invested in yourself to end this struggle now and then live the rest of your life in peace with food, in peace with yourself, in peace with your body. I mean, what would that be like for you? Okay, so now let's look at what you learned today and wrap up today's show. What you learned today is that 90% of your challenge, if you want to achieve permanent weight loss, that means that you're going to lose weight and you're going to keep it off for the rest of your life. If you want that, then you learned that 90% of that challenge is your mindset. Also, you learned today that only 10% of the challenge is the diet and the exercise portion. Maybe this makes sense to you that this is why 95% of dieters fail. They're not addressing the 90%. There are loads of healthy eating plans out there on the market that you could turn into a lifestyle. But why do you always go back to the unhealthy ways? Why is it that your emotional eating has never ended? Why is it that your binge eating is still with you? Why do you still sabotage yourself? These are all things that are symptoms of an FAT mindset. Something else you learned today is that in order to truly start the journey of becoming free of your struggles, you need to take full responsibility for yourself, for your results, for everything that you've created in your life. Not just the bad, not just the good, but all of it. And then that will put you in the driver's seat where you can then take the next step where you can get the help you need so that you can move beyond these struggles and leave them behind you. You also learned today how do you know that you need help? You know because you've never healed the root of this problem on your own. If you already knew how to do it, you would have done it years ago, right? Why wouldn't you? Of course you would. You also learned today that it doesn't have to take a lifetime for you to be free of these struggles, and you learned the real reasons why you're not losing weight and why you can't lose weight. I gave you several questions to ask yourself and also quite a bit of get real feedback, get real information for you to look at for yourself. You're the only one who can get real with you. Nobody else can do that for you. Finally, you also learned that there is no little green man behind the curtain who is forcing you to be who you are and to look like you do or anything. It's all you, which is a good thing, because if it wasn't all you, then that means that you would be waiting forever, because you would be waiting for other people or other institutions to change. It's good that it's all you, because that means that only you need to change to get what you want. Okay, so be sure and go to the JoLynnBraleyShow.com. Like our Facebook page, you'll get a shout out from me on an upcoming show. And if you're subscribed in iTunes, go ahead and give the show a 5-star rating. We're here to give you 5-star information to help you break free of diet mentality and the thinking that a food diet is the answer to all of your overweight problems. If it was, then why would you be listening to me right now? If you are not subscribed in iTunes, it's free to sign up for, and you can subscribe to the show and you will get free updates each week when the new episode comes out. Oh, while you're giving us a 5-star rating, share a review. Tell us what your biggest aha is from the show. We would love to read that. All right, so next week's episode, like I said earlier on the episode today, I'm actually going to address the 10%, which I have not done in 56 episodes of the JoLynn Braley Show, and we're going to talk about the food. This is JoLynn Braley, weight loss mindset expert, founder of the Inner Self Diet, and you have been listening to the JoLynn Braley Show. Head on over to fearlessfatloss.com to learn more. You can also grab my free 5-day e-course while you're there. It will help you answer the question, is your mindset fit, or FAT, and help you discover what's really been stopping you from losing weight for good and what you can do about it. Also, if you are serious about ending your food and weight struggles once and for all, you can apply for a complimentary weight loss discovery session at fearlessfatloss.com. Here's to your best life in your ideal body.